keeping things fun or playful in the bedroom is not necessarily an easy thing to do, and it does require constant care and attention. And for women to feel close and intimate in the bedroom and to experience pleasure, they often need to feel really relaxed. Like relaxation and pleasure really kind of need to go hand in hand. And it's not always easy when you're a busy wife or mom, you're on the go. So being spontaneous is often necessary in order to continue to have, intimacy with a partner. And so it was through the kind of the culmination of these different experiences and thought processes that, I kind of had this aha moment.
Welcome to Reward, the podcast of The Trust. We are the show specifically for women entrepreneurs who want to build businesses into the multi-million-dollar revenues and beyond, but especially because we know the reward is much greater than that. I'm Allie Brown, and I'm excited to introduce you to these diverse female leaders from a variety of industries, women making huge impact and who are unwilling to settle for the status quo. On the web, visit jointhetrust.org to learn more about our modern community for forward-thinking 7- and 8-figure women entrepreneurs. That's jointhetrust.org. See you there. Now, get ready to enjoy this episode's powerful conversation. I am excited to have you on today because I think the conversation will get a little saucy. We'll have some fun. There's so much to share about your story. And I think of all the interviews I do and the members I talk with of the Trust, I'm most fascinated when someone goes from point A that's in a totally different place to a point B of a business. And we want to know what happened. Why did it happen?
Yeah, yeah.
Why did you want to go there? What was the reasons? And how's it going?
Hmm.
So let's start off talking about the product itself. So
Okay,
Sweetums. So,
sure,
just give your elevator pitch and like what
sure.
this product is.
Yeah. Well, Sweetums started off as a flavored intimate wipe, but we've since kind of grown and expanded. Really, all of the products are things that you would use in your natural everyday life, but they're connection focused. So, for example, a lip balm that you would normally wear day to day, but it's flavored. So, like if you are kissing, it's going to taste really good. We have like a flavored fragrance too. So, a fragrance you would wear as your day-to-day fragrance, but if somebody kisses you, it's gonna taste nice too. So really like everything has at our North Star is this idea of connection and convenience.
Yeah. Okay. So the other products are newer. I don't know if you had those when you
Yeah.
were with us a while
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's exciting. How did
Yeah.
you know that you wanted to, or did you have that vision to add products to the line, or were you always more focused on one product?
Well, I mean, it kind of grows over time. I think that the initial thought was I wanted to bring to market flavored intimate wipes because it hadn't been done before. And because when the idea occurred to me, it was during COVID time. It was a time when everybody was more isolated. We still are pretty isolated. And I was like realized that it would be helpful. Everybody's using wipes at that time, by the way, for everything. Remember COVID? It was
Oh
like wipes
yeah.
were
Yeah,
selling
you
off the
couldn't get
shelf.
them.
You
Right.
couldn't even get them. And I was like, "Well, we should have flavored intimate wipes. It would be a fun way to spice things up in the bedroom, to make things playful." And they just didn't exist. And so I kind of started from there, and we brought the wipes to market. We expanded on the SKUs and lots of different flavors. And then from there, it kind of just organically grew where it was like, what about like a flavored fragrance that would be really fun that hasn't really been done? It's a stick-based flavored fragrance. And then we've just been kind of expanding over time naturally.
What was the moment, and this is a PG show, so but what was the moment maybe you had the idea for a flavored white? Like
Yeah.
when were you like, "You know what? That would be maybe well received."
Yeah. I think it was kind of the culmination of a lot of different things that happened. So it might have been one moment, but there was a lot of kind of history behind it. So I'm a psychologist by trade. I've worked with couples, I've worked with individuals. And at the time, I was also an owner of a mental health treatment facility for women specifically. And it was a women's only treatment facility specializing in treatment of mental health and trauma. And through these different experiences and through being a woman myself, I realized that like keeping things fun or playful in the bedroom is not necessarily an easy thing to do, and it does require constant care and attention. And for women to feel close and intimate in the bedroom and to experience pleasure, they often need to feel really relaxed. Like relaxation and pleasure really kind of need to go hand in hand. And it's not always easy when you're a busy wife or mom, you're on the go. So being spontaneous is often necessary in order to continue to have, intimacy with a partner. And so it was through the kind of the culmination of these different experiences and thought processes that, I kind of had this aha moment of why don't we have a flavored wipe? This would make it super fun. I mean, if you are a wipe girl and let's say you go to like CVS or Walmart, let's say you just use feminine wipes, like, your traditional feminine
Mhm.
wipes. There's just not very many options for us ladies. It's like you're either going to smell like a baby or a grandma. It's like a
Mhm.
baby wipe or it's like a
Mhm.
lavender wipe, so
And
to
I would
me,
imagine too, I haven't gone and tasted a wipe, but
no.
actually, no, even with my kids, you wipe their hands or something, and then like maybe later, like you would get a taste of it or something, and
Yeah.
you're like,
You're like,
ew, it's
ew.
a harsh chemical
Yeah, it doesn't
taste.
taste good. It doesn't taste good. Yeah, exactly. So, I think it was through kind of that experience and realizing, yeah, wipes themselves do not inherently taste good. We have flavored lube, we have all these other things, but why not, create a wipe with flavor? And so it's through that process that I came up with the idea and then eventually brought them to market.
So at this time, you are running your psychology business, this treatment center, and so what made you, because we all have ideas like this, right? We'll be sitting there because we're entrepreneurs, right? I know
Right, right.
I'll walk into a store too and be like, "Oh, someone should do this," or that'd
Yeah,
be a great idea. And then I think
yeah.
like as if I have time, as
Right,
if
right,
I will do that. What
right.
made you go, "I'm going to do this?"
It's a good question. I think I just got excited by the idea, and then I started looking into, like, patent and looking into whether it'd been done before, and when I saw that it
Mhm.
really hadn't been done, I got even more excited, and, yeah, I guess it was just that spirit of wanting to do something new, and, once you get started on something and I started working with chemists and building the formula and kind of as the ball was rolling, I was more and more motivated. I also think, like, the timing of things kind of lined up because
Mhm.
this is like it's a self-funded business. I didn't go out there and get investors or anything like that. But had it been like 10 years prior, I wouldn't have been able to fund this kind of a venture on my own. It was because I had these healthcare companies that I started that were doing really well. I eventually sold them, but it was through that I was able to say, you know what, I have my own financial backing. I'm going to gamble on me and on this product and I'm going to do it on my own. But had it been years earlier, I wouldn't have had the resources.
Yeah. Or you
Yeah.
knowing you would have figured it out though, I have a
Maybe.
feeling. I could tell. So, where would you even find a chemist? Like, how do you like that's a great example of something that someone may stop if they don't know how, but you
Yeah.
obviously figured it out.
I just did some research. I found some online sources where you can contract with various chemists. It's almost like the Upwork for the chemistry field.
Oh,
I can't
wow.
remember the name of it. I started with that, and then probably the finding the chemist part was easy. The hardest part was finding a manufacturer because during COVID, to find a white manufacturer, they didn't want to work with me. They were busy. They were like, no,
Oh,
no. And
right.
when I was like, I'm gonna sell an intimate wipe with flavor, they're like, no.
Yeah.
So I just through persistence eventually was able to get in with a really good white manufacturer in California actually, and I used their chemists as well. So it was like through multiple rounds of working with different chemists and, you know, testings
Wow.
and all that.
And then where did you first start selling?
We started as D2C, so direct to the consumer through we have a Shopify platform and then through Amazon. So we started there and it's kind of wild because I had no knowledge of any of this stuff when I started. Now I really get it and I love it and I'm learning more every day. But, you know, I come from the field of psychology. So I think with psychology and marketing, there's this inherent overlap there. But just hadn't had a lot of experience in, running an Amazon business or a D2C business. So, yeah.
Did your family think you were crazy?
Um, if they did, they didn't say it, you know? I think, like, one of the things that's helped me is that for the most part, I surround myself with people who believe in me, like, even when I don't. So, like, my husband is like the in particular I would actually say in the beginning, my husband was a little uncertain about it. He was like, I don't know. It's like, I'm a football coach. I'm a member of the community. This seems a little risque. This is
Oh,
a little,
I
he's,
could see
he's a
that.
little more like nervous about it. And I was like, no, it's awesome. Like, this is going to be great. Now he loves it. But in the beginning, he was a little skeptical,
It was a little
like,
foreign territory, right? You're
yeah,
like, "How is that?" Yeah, "How do I
well,
talk about this at the coach meeting?" And
yeah, exactly.
right? Wow, okay. And so you started direct to consumer.
Mhm.
How do you go then and get the attention of, like, a Walgreens or, these bigger places where you're selling now? How did that
Yeah.
happen?
Just trying to get as many at bats as possible. That's what my husband would say. Get at bat. Get as many at bats, as many opportunities to get in front of the right people as possible. Lots of them turn into dead ends, but just keep going. It was really there wasn't any one avenue. Like for IB, I used a online portal called Range Me, I think in the beginning. I mean, I did so many different things and I'm still doing, as many different things as I can to get in front of buyers who'll be interested in a product and trying to get their attention. It's not an easy thing to do. So it's just perseverance.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
done media or are you very out there as a spokesperson for this, or do you like to be more behind the scenes?
I don't really mind either way, but I love public speaking. I love talking. I love podcasts. I those things are super fun for me. But as I mentioned, I'm part of a healthcare company. The one that I started was purchased, and I'm part of a larger company. And so, because of the work that I do with them, I've kind of had to take more of a back seat in terms of being like the face of Sweetums. I do have, some other therapists who are really passionate about sexual wellness, and I'll bring them in as well. So I would say as of right now, I'm more behind the scenes, but
Yeah.
maybe one day I'll take more of a forward-facing role in terms of the promotion and
Yeah.
communication about the products.
Yeah. I bet when
Mhm.
you brainstorm for avenues to promote this, it's all over the place, right? Because you could be direct in a drugstore, but I think you mentioned also waxing salons have been a
Yeah.
great distribution point.
Yeah.
Just getting the product in front of people or somewhere they could talk about it. And I was thinking of
Yeah.
the waxing, that's brilliant because you're trapped on the table anyway. You end up talking about something, right?
Right.
Like they know
Right.
my whole life. My waxer
Right.
knows too
Well, and
much.
exactly. And if
She knows too much.
you're taking care of that part of your body, it means that you value that part of your body. You want to tend to your intimate areas, and so this kind of a product's gonna be more appealing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Have you or do you, there's all these podcasts now too on sexual health and, keeping things fresh in the bedroom and, like, have you done any advertising on those types of shows, or do you go talk
Mm,
on those or
we haven't really done much of that. In the beginning, we were on, Chelsea Handler podcast.
Oh, wow.
That was cool. She just kinda did some plugs for us on her podcast, but
Yeah.
we haven't done a lot of podcast stuff, to be honest with you. As much as I love it, it hasn't been a huge focus of, like, the marketing up till now.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought of
Mhm.
that. So it'd be interesting to think about, yeah, your user and just all the places that they would be. But really, it's kind of for anyone at the same time, right?
Yeah.
It's for anyone.
Right. Well, which reminds me, we launched men's wipes too. So that was a new thing. When we created these wipes, they were intended to be for women and for men to use. But the packaging is very feminine, and I realized over time that men just weren't using them. They're fine for a man's body, like they can be used by men, but men weren't buying them. So um I spoke with Cindy Eckert.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
she was the one and she was like, "You have to do men's wipes. You have to do men's wipes." And I was like, okay. So then I did some market research and we had with I mean hundreds of men getting some feedback about the men's wipes before I like went all in and brought it to market. And it was really funny to me how gung ho the guys were for the wipes. Because what I realized is that like women, if we have like a box of wipes, we're gonna be like, it's 19.99. Do I want to spend that money? Do I, we're more, whereas the men
Mhm.
were like, oh, $20 and I might get lucky.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
If it's related to that department, right, they're like, "Roar,"
Oh, it was like
they're
hands
on
down.
it.
They were like, yes, we would buy.
That's
And we
funny.
brought it to market and it's relatively new. I think we brought it like 6 months ago or less.
Okay, and I'm gonna guess the packaging's different. Is the name
Yeah.
different?
Yeah. It's like
Do you have them
Lucky
there?
Wipes for
Oh,
men.
lucky there you go.
Get
There you go.
lucky.
Brilliant. Okay, that's brilliant branding. Yes. I love that. It's
Yeah.
all and here comes your gift, which keeps on giving, which is psychology.
Right. Yeah.
Right? That's only gonna come in handy when you're
Right.
looking at marketing and messaging. It's all psychology in the end, right? It's
I
market
know. Yeah.
market message, media, they all have to match, getting in front of them, getting their
Yeah.
attention, getting them to take action. But I love
Yeah.
the packaging idea. And
Thanks.
Cindy Eckert, we had her on a few years ago. She's been and spoken at a few of my events. And I remember, I believe she was the one who referred you to me
Yes.
and the trust a
Yes.
few years ago. So
Yeah.
it's great to hear her name again. And she's
Yeah.
the queen of that department too, because she was,
She
for those
is.
of you who don't know Cindy, she took a product to market, which was, I forget what the drug was called. It was essentially the female kind of Viagra, right? It was supposed
Yep.
to get things
Yep.
going. Sold it for $1 billion, literally. And that was kind of her initial claim to fame. And now she's doing all kinds of cool stuff. But it
Yeah.
was great to know that she's the one who referred you. I'm gonna shift gears a bit because,
Yeah.
I really wanna make sure that we have a full, kind of picture of the business that you did create, this, what would you call the therapy center, recovery center? Is that what you called it?
Yeah. There's actually two of them, a bigger one and a smaller one. So the
Mhm.
bigger one, Wings Recovery, is a intensive mental health treatment facility. So what we would call like a residential or a partial hospitalization program. And it was gender specific. So we had a women's only treatment program and our specialty, and still to this day, the specialty is really the treatment of trauma. Because we realize that women, when they've been traumatized, often want to heal with other women, and that if they've been traumatized by men, it's hard to be in an intensive program with other
Mm.
men. So we're trying to just create a safe place for them, but it's pretty intensive treatment that the clients go through when they're at that
Is this
program.
typically a recent event, or is it something that's been with them their whole life
It
that
could
is they
be
realize?
either. It could be either, but I mean, some people have pretty severe trauma histories. We have clients who have seizures secondary to trauma, what we call pseudo seizures. People who've been victims of like cults, people who've had
Wow.
complex trauma, chronic trauma throughout childhood or adulthood. So, like, pretty not everybody, but a lot of the women that were coming to our treatment program had really suffered quite a bit. And so like our mission was to try to help them heal from that and like
Mhm.
build their lives back up. A lot of them were moms. And so we had like a real passion for that. We later opened up a men's only treatment program as well that was under that same umbrella,
Mhm.
and work with a lot of like first responders and military. But yeah, that is, and it exists to this day and is a thriving business.
So that's one of them, and you said you started 2 different businesses.
Yeah, the other that one I started with a co-founder. Then there's also what we would call like a group private practice. So it was just a practice of a lot of therapists doing outpatient therapy. So like if you or I or anyone were to go get therapy or a child were to go get therapy, just it was something like that, but with like about 20 to 30 different therapists who were providing outpatient therapy.
Mm. And, in your career, how has the mental health landscape changed? What have you observed?
That's a really, really good question. I think that slowly the stigma is getting better. It's still there. I think uh, the stigma is still pretty strong for men, in
To go to a
particular. A lot of
therapist
yeah,
to
I've noticed like a
just
lot of
to
men, they're okay with admitting to having like a substance abuse problem, but to talk about trauma, or to admit that they have
mm,
PTSD or trauma is often really hard. So there's that, but I think like the landscape's changed, just from in terms of how insurance is reimbursing. That's really changed. It remains really challenging to sometimes to work with insurance to get them to cover an adequate amount of care for individuals. So that's kind of always been there, but that landscape changes over time.
yeah. I've heard many people share the sentiment that they feel that our generation is the generation to do the most healing of any generation. Like we're finally accepting it, understanding it. People are getting
Mhm.
help. It's not
Mhm.
as stigmatized as it was. So it's actually it's a wonderful time in that way, right? But
Mhm.
it's hard to see, I think so many people, there's a lot of people hurting,
Yeah.
and needing healing. But I guess the
Yeah.
good side of that is that there's help available. It's talked about now. People are
Yeah.
realizing they're breaking
Breaking a cycle.
which could be generations, right,
Mm.
of family trauma. I understand we hold
Absolutely.
it even from past generations.
Oh, 100%. At our women's program, we see a lot of women who are like Orthodox Jewish. Not all of them, but we have quite a few, and we have accommodated those, women because there's particular and men, but particular, things that we need to accommodate them with in terms of what they eat and kosher and holidays and all this kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
oftentimes they are bringing with them this pretty significant generational trauma, and it's heavy, and it's definitely needs to be treated and is worth being treated. I mean, that's just one example, but we have so many different clients where, yeah, they're trying to break a cycle, a pattern, like a parent
Yeah.
who's coming in and saying, I need to do something different so that I can break this pattern.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
It's interesting because your work over on that side I bet feels just really heavy, right? And then you're like, "I'm gonna go launch a wipe product," just to, like, kind of escape. Maybe it balances out, all the heaviness that you get to do
Yeah.
this kind of fun
Yeah.
product for, like, people who wanna have fun and enjoy things more, and,
Yeah.
did you ever think about that? How it does it balance do
Yeah.
you know the
I
balance? You feel
I
your
have thought
workload?
about that. It's funny because if you look at it from a business perspective, both businesses come with crises. Any business you own, there's gonna be those moments of crisis where you're like, "The ship is sinking. What do I do?" Or like,
Mhm.
"Oh, this is I'm scared or nervous about something." But the crises of the 2 companies are different. You know what I mean? It is much heavier at the women's or at the and the men's at the mental health treatment facility. The crises are you're scared for someone, you're worried, they're in crisis, the staff is suffering, they're having a hard time, they're feeling burnt out. Those are the crises versus like, yeah, with the wipes, it's like, oh my gosh, our sales crashed or my meta got, hijacked or, it it's not to the same it's a different kind of crisis. Yeah.
Right, right, there's not a life in danger or suffering, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
yeah, so, I love both sides of what you do, and I think that makes it when I first, met you and got to know you, that made you so much more interesting of a person to me, I think,
Yeah.
because because of that balance so I
Yeah.
love that. So, what's next for Sweetums, and how can we support you? Tell us where we
Oh,
can buy the products, where should we,
yeah.
go to learn more? Send us some samples for the summer
Oh.
meeting, by the way.
Oh, I would
Would
love to. Yeah,
love
please,
that.
please.
Pass them out
I
to
will
all the girls.
100%. I will totally send samples. Yeah. Yeah, what's next? I mean, we just recently launched our new flavored lip balms. Those are going crazy right now. Those are really, really fun. I'll definitely send you some of those. Just continuing to grow and expand our retail presence and continuing to try to be like disruptor and innovative. Um, yeah, and if people are interested, you can find us at various retail places. We're at Walgreens, we're at some waxing salons, adult novelty, but also tried and true. You can definitely find us on Amazon. You can also find us on our website, which is getsweetums.com.
I love
So,
it. Great.
yeah.
And two last questions. So, Alisa, you're obviously you've built already so much success in your other businesses. You're very well connected. You knew Cindy Eckert, for example, before you even, came to us in the trust, So what drew you to a group like the trust at that
Yeah.
time?
Well, I had mentioned that, like, at the mental health treatment facility, the big one, I had a co-founder. And I, with Sweetums, don't have a co-founder. And it makes for kind of a lonely and more stressful environment. I really was seeking connection and guidance and people that who understood the struggle and the stress associated with owning a business and running a business and being responsible for, having a huge stress on your back. So I was really seeking that, and I think the trust helped me tremendously. Also helped in terms of just connections and networking. Lisa Larder in the trust, I work with her to this day. She's one of our advisors at Sweden. She's amazing. And I worked with other people that I met through the trust. So I think, yeah, to answer your question, it's helped me. And what I was looking for at that time and still seek out is like that sounding board. Like my husband, I'll be like, oh, I'm thinking about doing this, or I want to spend money on that, or whatever. And he's like, go for it. Go for it. It's like, you got this, which is wonderful. And I love that he believes in me. But sometimes you also need someone who's saying, well, have you thought about this?
Yeah.
Or what about
Yeah.
that? Or, oh, I did this and this is how it panned out. So pay attention. Like
Right.
that is so valuable.
Having that sounding board, and even from women, I found they may not have the direct same experience as you're seeking, like, but there's so much wisdom that they can reflect back the questions that you should be answering, or maybe they know somebody, or have you thought, like you said, have you thought about this? Or sometimes they're not being too familiar with what you do is an asset because they'll ask questions you hadn't thought of. If there's people
Yeah.
around you,
Yeah.
if you're listening or watching this, it's good to have people around you who understand your business, but it's good to talk to people also who don't understand your business,
Yeah.
because or a coach who could remain very neutral, because they'll ask questions that maybe challenge assumptions that you have had for too long, or just
Mm-hmm.
like bonkers ideas that are kind of ridiculous but could work,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just,
Yeah.
all these different things coming at you.
Yeah.
And then Alisa, in all this, what is the reward for you?
Um, I think it's twofold. I think one there is specifically with Sweetums, there's a reward with mental health. That's very clear to me. But with Sweetums, the reward, there's something very rewarding about having an idea and then bringing it to life in a very tangible way. You know, um, it's really exciting. When I have a new product and then it comes in my hand and I have it, and I've spent so much time, there's something that is very exciting and, inherently rewarding about that. But also what's rewarding is like seeing the reviews from customers, having customers tell me how it's impacted them, like how it's been a game changer in their marriage with the wipes, or how much they appreciate the products, or those kind of things are the things that keep me going,
Yeah.
that yeah is for sure the reward for me. And then mental health, of course, there's the rewards there too, just seeing people when they change their lives. And yeah.
Helping people on both ends.
Exactly. Your head and your,
From top to tail. All
I
right.
love that.
Well,
Well, we say their our products are good for the boardroom to the bedroom.
there we go. I like it. And that's a wrap. All right, Alisa, thanks so much for joining us. I hope to see you again soon. We're looking forward
Thanks.
to getting those samples.
Yeah, you got it.
And definitely the lip balm and the wipes.
Yes.
We'd love to get a few. So thank you for joining us. Just
Okay,
congrats on everything you've created. I mean, we
thanks.
know this it's not all roses all the time, and you've handled a lot in your businesses and even with the new business as well. So
Yeah,
congrats on what you're doing, and we hope to see
thank
you
you.
soon.
Thank you. You
Okay.
too.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. Subscribe now to the Reward Podcast to be sure to not miss an episode. And don't forget to visit jointhetrust.org to learn more about our modern community for forward-thinking 7- and 8-figure women entrepreneurs. You can learn more, apply to join us, or refer another woman you know who is over the $1 million mark and is ready for a different type of women's network. We have events coming up both live and online that are truly creating new possibilities for female leaders. That's jointhetrust.org. See you there.